I'm Seth.
And I'm Drew.
And this is
Nerd Meeting the Nerd.
Hey everyone, we are back and we're playing Burnout 3, The Takedown on the IGN Top 100 Video Games of All Time. We're getting towards the end of this. I think Drew is about to fall asleep. I, on the other hand, am like totally into this game. Not a big racing game fan if you've been watching along. We've talked about that a little bit, but it's like not mad at this game, to be honest. And we've opened up some muscle cars. And
yeah, dude. Okay, I'm starting. I'm feeling.
I always wanted like a Boss Mustang. You know what I mean?
I know, dude. I had a buddy that had a 1970 Chevelle, and it was this beautiful color of blue with white racing stripes, and the interior was cherry, dude. It was a beautiful, beautiful car. And I remember at one point I got to drive it. Like we were in a parking lot. I mean, it was such a small little moment. But in that instance, I felt true happiness, and that was a rare occurrence when I was younger. But it was, and I love muscle cars, dude. When I was a kid, I loved muscle cars. But I also, as an adult, my adult brain comes in and tells me how illogical it is to own a car like this.
Yeah.
You know, like if I had a boatload of money, it would be a completely different story, because it's nothing. You know, you spend 30 grand to fix it up and restaurate it.
Well, here's the thing. There's two different schools on that subject, and I'm semi-knowledgeable on it. You have the guys and gals who just have money, and they can just afford to buy, a 68 Chevelle. It's cherry, it's ready to rock and roll, and they take it to every car show ever, and it's like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, dude.
Then you have the other school that doesn't have that kind of jack, but they somehow came across the body of one of these cars, and over the course of many years, they fixed it up. They're a mechanic by trade.
Exactly.
And they work on their own stuff. And not everyone can say that. It's there was an episode of Tool Time about this. Tim had fixed up his hot rod for years and years and years and years.
Yeah.
Done all the work
I remember
himself.
those episodes, man.
And then Bob Vila wants to get in a race with him.
Yeah.
And he ends up losing the race, and they're like, dude, why'd you lose? He's like, because in order to beat him, I was going to basically have to blow up my car. And I built my car. I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that car. Bob didn't do anything. He just bought that car so he can afford to just blow it up, and I can't. And it's I appreciate that school way more than the ones no offense to the guys. If you got it, you got it. But
yeah, if you got it, we're jealous.
I think it's cool when people put a lot of work and time. And I always liked the rattier vehicles and motorcycles and stuff.
Sure.
I thought it was a lot cooler when your stuff was dirty and oily and clearly been
rusty or
been ridden.
Loved.
And not just car covered its entire life. And
I mean, I would love that. And when I was younger, I worked on my own car. It was easier back then because there wasn't a lot of computery stuff.
No doubt.
And I would love that. And I guess
what did you have? You had a Jeep, not Wrangler. You had a Jeep
Cherokee. My first car was a '91 Jeep Cherokee Limited, and it was white with gold trim. It was a pretty nice car, man. I mean, it was. I ended up paying $1,200 for it, I think, at the time. And outside of my Ford Fusion, that was the best car that I had. And I say Ford Fusion only because at the time it was super high tech for what it was. I had way more car than I could have when I was that age, and so that was just really cool. I mean, I had a Dodge truck, a racing truck that was pretty cool, and I got the tricked out exhaust on it, and
nice.
I went your classic upgrades on it, and it was a really fun car to drive, or truck, whatever. The problem is when you have a truck, everybody wants you to help them move.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm putting a lot of time and effort and money into fixing up this truck and making it nice. And then, dude, there was nothing wrong with it until I think it was like the AC went out or the heat went out, one of the two. And I live in an area where it gets very hot and very cold. So you need a system like that to make sure you don't die. Dude, I took it to the dealership and they were like, yeah, it's going to cost you like $3,000 to fix this. And I went, I'm sorry, what? They're like, based on this model of vehicle, what we need to change is just on the other side of the firewall.
Yeah.
So we have to rip out the entire dashboard, take everything out and the steering column, and like replace this part, which the part itself is like $30, but it's the labor and all that other stuff. I was like, oh my God, dude. And they're like, and every time we've done it, and this was at a dealership, they're like, every time we've done it, another part gets broken and we either replace it right then and there, which of course adds to the part cost and the labor cost, or you find out about it months later and then you're back in here and you're spending even more money because we're taking everything all back out again and digging through to find it. And I was like, oh my God, dude. So I ended up selling it in whatever off season, because they were like, oh, hey, I think it was the AC, dude, the evaporator coil or some crap, dude. I forget. But I was traded it in to get my Fusion actually at the time, and which they don't make that car anymore. And it was so fun. It was so cool. It was like a sleeker, techier version of the Taurus, which the Taurus is a nice car.
Yeah.
Or was. I don't think they make them anymore, which is a shame.
I think Ford got completely out of making cars. They only make like trucks and SUVs now, and like police cruisers.
Dumb.
I think they do still make cruisers, but
yeah, like the Taurus for a long time. I had a '92 Taurus, and dude, those were the ones that looked like Ninja Turtles. And I am so.
And
mad
I think
at
they were
myself.
like completely like just couldn't kill those cars.
No, dude. The only reason that I got rid of my Taurus, it was a red one, and I should have painted most of it green, and so that it would have been the Raphael mobile, because it had those like weird like round eyes or whatever. For the headlights.
Yeah.
So cool. That car was stolen from out front of my house in broad daylight. Literally within the 20 minutes between me going out there and grabbing something from my car and then getting ready to leave for work. And at the time, I lived like on a pretty steep hill. And I was like, oh my God, did the brakes go out? I'm like looking down the hill. I'm like, where's my car?
Dude, where's my car?
Dude, where's my car? For real this time. Yeah, come to find out that, it was some kids, stole it, and they drove it like they stole it. I mean, there was a lot of crap that was wrong with it. My car was found. It was found abandoned. Thank God I only had like a quarter of a tank of gas in that thing. So they didn't get far. I was poor. The most gas I ever put in that car was half a tank. Like that's the highest I ever went.
I feel that.
And that was one of those cars that, like, early on, it had the little mile counter telling you how many miles you had left on your tank. I abused that system.
Oh yeah.
But no,
I still do occasionally. Like,
oh, of course.
Like, not proud of it, but just sometimes you just don't have time.
Yeah,
And it's always the worst time too. Like, you get in your car and you're like, oh my God, why didn't I get gas?
In the last year, I have seen my car tell me, refuel now at least 5 times. Because when that happens, even when it says refuel now, like, I still have at least 3 gallons left in the tank based on what I am filling in when I fill up my tank and the capacity of it. So it's fine, They do that on purpose so that less people get stranded. It's a ploy to put AAA out of business, I think.
Probably.
Yeah, but anyway, dude, yeah, it was stolen, it was destroyed, and the insurance company was like, yeah, we're just going to total this because based on the worth, it's a total loss. And so that was it. That was the end of my Ford Taurus days. And dude, I love that car. I wasn't a huge fan of the interior color. It was that like tan beige color.
Yeah, it stains easily.
Yeah, but I mean, I still kept it in really good condition, but these are the troubling things, man. I've had my current car since 2016, and that's great, dude. I'm very close to 250,000 miles. I'm gonna try to push it as far as I can until it dies, dude, because it's paid off. You know.
Yeah. I
hope
that.
that doesn't make it into a short.
I know. What a lame short.
I know, dude. It's I mean, whatever. Some of these episodes aren't comedy gold.
Oh, Crash FM.
Crash FM coming at you live at 90 miles per hour.
Well, here's a subject change for you, and I meant to
it.
bring this up like way earlier than now, but no better time than the present. I played Starfield for the first time last night.
Ooh, okay.
And I don't know, man. It gets a lot of hate. I'm not hard to please when it comes to games because I'm sort of like in my gaming resurgence. So like every modern game looks beautiful to me and plays awesome.
Well, they do look beautiful. I mean, that's just real.
Well, what's cool is I think Starfield's been out for like a year maybe.
Yeah.
I got zero bugginess. Like I got more bugginess from the new Indiana Jones by far than I did this game. Yeah. And it's the first game so far that I've played mouse and keyboard.
Okay.
And I'm not mad at it, dude. I mean, it's definitely like a weird, like, you're making like a weird claw thing with your left hand.
Yeah.
But I dig it, dude. Like I like the mouse and keyboard thing. I don't know if I'll keep doing it like that, but
sure.
One thing that's cool about Starfield, sure there's other games like this, but like Star Wars Outlaws as example has a very similar like spaceship
sure, space travel, go to planets and
like you're not just flying from one planet to the next like in real time. Like there is like a slight like load screen situation and stuff like that.
A gummy ship
and
kind of thing.
And apparently like people were mad about that with Starfield. They're like, oh, I thought this was supposed to be like truly open world and I was supposed to be able to just fly from one to the next. And it's like, dude, like the amount of like computing power.
Okay, the amount of if they were actually able to do that within the first couple of hours, they would be over it, dude. I mean, that's how it is with those games. Like, it's fun in the beginning to make someone walk the entire way to Mordor, but after a while, you're just like, dude, I just want to fast travel there. Let me call the Eagles, bro.
Yeah, so whatever. Like, there's some similarities there, but I think one thing that Star Wars Outlaws missed, and I think it's just the difference.
Check out the description
between
Keep talking.
I think it's the difference between the types of games. Those Bethesda games are very in depth. Okay, I'm getting to the point here. In the space travel, you actually have full control over your spaceship. Like you can take power from the engines and divert it to your shields.
Oh man.
To help yourself in battle. You can do the same thing with like your cannons and stuff. And like you have to, it's like a strategy. Like you have to control the power. And I've never played a game like that before. And it's in depth, dude. It's in depth and I like that. It's cool.
Well, the reason I think people got bummed out about it is because they were really pitching it as 100% open world. And it was that, you are going to experience this as if you were a true space traveler. And that was the pitch, that was the hype. And I think there were a few things that let folks down. And because it's not ever expansive, it's not completely unlimited, because there has to be a limit to it, dude. There's a limit to the software. There's a limit to the possibilities because it's programmed and it's fixed. You know what I mean? So I get why people were disappointed in it. I think the game itself, like if they didn't overhype it and overpromise, I think it would be far better received. But dude, when you said that you can divert power from the engines to shields, now all I want is someone out there to take Starfield and reskin it with Star Trek stuff.
Oh, yeah.
That is what I want. I want a Star Trek game that is like Starfield, where I can be the captain of a ship and I can divert power from the engines to shields and max out my photon torpedoes and lasers and take on the Borg, dude. Like, I want that so bad now.
I want something else to open up in Europe. I think I'm not doing that again. Yeah, no, I'm with you, dude. And I'm just gonna regurgitate a video that I watched because it made so much sense. I don't know if you've ever felt this way about any game, but it's like you wonder why you like it so much. You're like, why do I like this game so much?
Yeah.
And I think Bethesda games specifically, the 3 that I've played at this point,
Yeah,
I keep going back to, mostly Skyrim. Occasionally I play a Fallout 4, and now like I'm
sure.
playing Starfield, and I like it. And they all feel very like they're very similar because it's the same developer. They,
Yeah, it's their style.
it's their style. So for obvious reasons, but it's like, why do I like playing these games so freaking much? And there was this really great video, and I won't be able to find it in order to tag it, but it was really good.
Yeah, we're not going to do that anyway.
And basically, the guy gave you the reason why, and the reason why is those games you never get old because like every 15 minutes you're doing something different. It's like you're on a fetch quest, boom, you got it done. Okay, now I'm going to do this other quest, and then next thing you know, you've been playing the game for like 8 hours, and you're like, dude, I've just been. It's just dopamine hit after dopamine hit. And it's very, and I like that. And I've played other games and I haven't finished them. And I always wonder why. Like, why did I abandon it? And I think it's because I just ultimately got bored with it.
Sure.
And it's because it doesn't have that, like, every 15 minutes I'm doing something different thing that these Bethesda games are, I guess, known for. And I dig it. And he was basically also went into, like, in great detail, like, how it was about Starfield specifically, and he's like, dude, like, you guys expected this to have like this great story. Bethesda games have never had great story. They've never had great dialogue. They do a lot of things well. They don't do any one thing great. So that's why people like it, because there's so much to do and so much going on. They don't have to do everything perfect, because once you get sick of one thing, once you get sick of foraging, you're like, screw it, I'm going to go do this other quest where I have to I'm like in Skyrim, I'm in like the Thieves Guild, so I'm like,
I saw that coming.
Like I'm like assassinating people and stuff in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing some of those types of quests.
Like the factions and stuff, which is the same thing in Fallout 4. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, and I like that. And I know you're a huge Fallout 4 fan, so I'm curious to hear like your is that do you feel that now? Like, I don't know if you've ever been conscious of that. I certainly wasn't. I just knew I liked those games and I didn't know why.
No, I mean it makes total sense, dude, because absolutely it's similarly, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom kind of have that vibe.
Yeah, true that.
Because you can get easily distracted and go do something else exactly where you are. But dude, that makes a lot of sense. And actually, while you were kind of breaking that down, Bethesda is very good at making a sort of like the skeleton of a game and then putting new skins on it. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Starfield is what it is actually gives me great hope for the next Elder Scrolls iteration and the next Fallout iteration, because they will probably be very similar in structure to what Starfield is. And as long as they don't overpromise, and Fallout has a great growing story now with the television show and a lot of people creating their own stuff. There's a YouTube series, I guess, where it's from a perspective of a wastelander that's crazily addicted to Nuka-Cola, and it's awesome. Of course I'm blanking on the name right now, but it is worth a watch. But no, dude, I think that's cool. I mean, and I think that's also one of the problems with Starfield. Like, it was a new concept. You have some Elder Scrolls games in the past. Oblivion was a hit, so of course Skyrim was going to be a hit. Elder Scrolls Online was a little whatever, but it was also a new format for a game like that, and it was really trying to be as close to World of Warcraft as possible. And I think you had detractors that were like, I'll just play World of Warcraft. I already have my subscription, so whatever. Yeah, dude, I'm excited about that. And that makes sense, dude. I mean,
and I wonder when they're going to port that over to console.
I mean, I think it's available on Xbox, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I mean, PlayStation is what I meant.
Well, Bethesda's owned by Microsoft, so it may never happen. I'm sure it will, because at one point, Microsoft mentioned that they were going to open up exclusives to the PlayStation members, which, as a PlayStation person, I'm excited for that. But why would you ever make an exclusive game ever? why would you make it exclusive? Because you're missing out on a massive portion of pockets, okay? Yes, it in a lot of cases, it helps sell, consoles. We are a decade away from probably never having consoles ever again. And I hate that because I love having a little box that isn't a computer that sits in front of my TV in my living room so that I can just click and boop and boot it up and play video games. I love that, dude. It's so exciting.
I am getting to the point with my PC that I don't know, like whatever new PlayStation comes out, like they're gonna have to have like some serious exclusives for me to be like, yeah, that's worth it to me. I don't know. I like it
on the
too.
stats, like if this is a game changing thing, like moving to that next level, from like if it is true 8K and it's easier immersion and it's the only when the PS5 came out, it was a drastic improvement over the PS4. A drastic improvement. And so if that happens with 6, I will be bought in absolutely. I don't think that's going to happen because the PS5 Pro did so poorly. They're going to push out 6 faster. And I think that based on hardware limitations, I have a feeling that PS6 will hit in 2026 because Switch 2 should be coming out this year, March, June, whenever.
Yeah.
Nintendo seems to always come out with their consoles now on the off year of Xbox and PlayStation. And then Xbox and PlayStation get FOMO and they come out with their next console to compete with each other, which, I don't know, man, to me, I haven't been seduced by the Xbox side of things. But now, and I got a Steam Deck for, Christmas. It was, whatever. It's amazing. I know. Hashtag baller, whatever. But the thing is, I am so overwhelmed by the Steam library. There's certain things that I'm excited to play, but I also look at it as like I could play Indiana Jones right now. But I don't know if I want to because I've spent so much time building up my trophy status in PlayStation that it's like I can wait. I can wait until that comes out on PS5 because it will. I'm pretty sure they've announced that that's coming to PS5 at some point, probably in another year once the hype dies down from the Xbox.
Yeah,
folks.
And they need a quick cash grab.
Exactly, dude. Once those sales dip, it was the same thing with. It kind of went like with Hogwarts Legacy, I think. Like that was an exclusive for PlayStation for a little bit, and then it came to Xbox. And then 2 years later, they had to dumb that game down as much as they could so it could come out on the Switch.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, man. I think when it comes to exclusivity, giving people 3 months is plenty of time. Because especially now with like the hype of streamers and stuff like that, like it's the flavor of the month, dude. Someone will get a game like that, play it for 2 weeks on stream, and then it's on to the next thing. It's on to the next thing. So games don't have their popularity as long as they used to, especially because there's such an oversaturation of stuff coming out. And I'm not complaining because there have been some killer indie games that have come out, and I freaking love that, dude. Indie games are where it's at, in my opinion. AAAs are good.
Yeah.
But I think they're becoming overpriced and underperforming.
Exactly.
Whatever,
I mean, dude, a game really has to like wow me to complete it, because there's just so many choices. There's too many choices.
And I want people to stop. Game developers, please stop making achievements and trophies and unlockable things for every effing level of difficulty in the game, okay? I don't want to play it on extreme bleeding anus mode, okay? I don't want to do that. I want to be able to play on the easy peasy lemon squeezy mode and absolutely crush the story, have a blast, and then go back and search deep for stuff and come up with, give me secret stuff. I want secret stuff. I want puzzles. I don't want it to become super, super hard.
I don't play stuff on God mode.
I know, dude. The one game that I played recently that I fully attempted to do that with was Resident Evil Village, and I just got really sucked into it at the time, honestly. And but the problem is, dude, there was hardcore mode. I still haven't finished it, even though like it's kind of like a new game plus. You bring all your stuff with you. And so I was in a good spot. I had a lot of things unlocked. I was able to do it relatively easily. But then there was this other like side thing where it's like, oh, you were going to put you in the map and you've got to be like perfect shots on all these zombie heads, and you got to get this amount of points to get an S rank or something, and that was tied to a trophy. I tried that for like 4 hours, and the best I got was an A rank, and I'm like, I'm done. I'm walking away from the game. So I completely shut down. I have not played that game since then because I was so demotivated by a trophy that I couldn't get that I will probably not get the next Resident Evil game that comes out. I haven't played a Resident Evil game since.
Yeah.
So
I don't think I've ever completed a Resident Evil game, to be honest, which is kind of sad. We will, well, we won't complete it, but we are going to play some Resident Evil on this series.
Of games. Yeah, dude. But yeah, so after that level of carnage, I think it's time for us to wrap up this episode in a nice little bow of caution tape.
Yep, I like it. Listen, we are playing the IGN Top 100 video games of all time. This is Burnout 3 Takedown, and it's fun. It's a good game.
Yeah.
You know, if you're into that kind of thing.
Well, no. We can't. We got to wait until the next episode to give people our opinion.
Well, you know, I don't know. Who cares about our opinions anyway? But it's fun. It's good.
Yeah.
And hit the subscribe button. Let's keep crashing and blowing things up. Apparently.
Yeah,
and,
dude, that's awesome.
From all of us here at Nerd Leading the Nerd, come back soon.
Because we'll be waiting and exploding.
Nerd Leading the Nerd. We love to talk about all things nerdy. Nerd Leading the Nerd. We talk about pretty much everything we love here. Nerd Leading the Nerd. Seth and Drew are your friendly tour guides. Nerd Leading the Nerd. So sit back and relax and enjoy the ride with Nerd Leading the Nerd. What? Nerd Leading the Nerd.